So really, I think the big trends in the market for 2024 in the devices space are going to be the AI PC and Windows on ARM. So really, all the PC OEMs are looking right now to when is that next major refresh cycle really going to ramp. So in 2020 and 2021, we saw really great demand, and that was mostly driven by COVID, and that kind of accelerated learn from home and work from home initiatives, which grew the overall PC install base. However, in 2022 and 2023, we really saw that because of that accelerated demand during the pandemic, demand had been really satisfied for those years, and we saw unit shipments fall quite a bit, and there's quite some turbulence in the PC market. So right now, we're really waiting on that refresh, and we're getting into a really interesting time now where we're about 3 years past the beginning of the pandemic, and the average life cycle for a PC is around 3 years. So we're really waiting on these factors to see what's going to drive the refresh, whether that's the introduction of the AI PC or Windows on ARM. Things like the end of Windows 10 support could also be a driver, as well as, again, that PC lifecycle. So getting a little bit deeper into it, just touching on AI PCs, depending on who you talk to, PC OEMs or silicon providers, the definition of an AI PC is going to vary quite a bit. But really, essentially, an AI PC is a machine that's purpose-built to enable AI accelerated workloads. And sometimes that can come with the distinction of the inclusion of an NPU or a neural processing unit. CPUs and GPUs have always been in computers. They've been around for quite some time, but now we're seeing an inclusion of this NPU, which is a purpose-built component for these computers to run these AI accelerated workloads. But right now, I think we're kind of in a phase with the AI PC where we're in a kind of build it and they will come phase, where the hardware is in place, and now we're really waiting for the software developers to create that kind of killer application that is something that you can only do on an AI PC that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do on a regular PC, maybe something without the NPU. And then on to Windows on ARM. Really, I think Windows on ARM is not a new subject. Microsoft has been putting out Surface devices powered by ARM chips for quite some time. However, I think now Microsoft is really pushing Windows on ARM more than ever has before, and that really has to do with the introduction of Windows Dev Kit 2023, which came out at the end of 2022. And really what that is an appliance as well as a toolkit that is meant to better enable the development of ARM native Windows applications. So at this point, I think what's really held Windows back in ARM-based PCs is that the applications are x86 and x64 based. They're not ARM-based natively. So we know that Apple came out with these ARM chips and they've really taken off. It's because Apple has complete ownership of their ecosystem, whereas it's a little bit different with the Windows situation. So I really think the adoption of that is going to be driven by, the rate of development of these ARM native Windows applications, as well as potentially any hindrances in the development of x86 chips from companies like Intel and AMD. People really, I think, should be looking forward to from TBR in terms of trends that we're going to be watching in 2024. Again, that AI PC, the development of Windows on ARM. I think these are trends that are going to not just be a 2024 trend, but really kind of more a 2025, 2026, and even longer, even further out than that as we wait for these applications to develop. So I think TBR is really going to be focused on watching how these trends develop and how they either drive and benefit a refresh cycle or how they maybe push the refresh cycle back. So for example, I think something's really interesting around AI PC. Of course, all the PC OEMs would like you to think that the AI PC is going to drive this massive refresh. But right now, again, in that state of the, build it and they will come, I think I mentioned that earlier. I don't know if we're going to see more commercial organizations buying these new AI PCs because they want the greatest and the best new hardware, or whether we're going to see maybe that actually delays a refresh because they're going to wait for that killer application. So I think that's something that we're going to have to kind of wait to see what happens there, and we'll be watching that through 2024. With respect to Windows on ARM, I think that's going to be something that really pushes definitely a longer term trend, and maybe something that'll precipitate changes in the next maybe 5 to 10 years. If you're interested in AI PC and Windows on ARM and kind of tracking those developments, TBR reports to look out for would definitely be, I'd say number one, probably the semiconductor market landscape. And that's going to touch more than just on devices. It's going to kind of go and be across TBR's other practice areas, but it will definitely have something in there on the PC silicon, Windows on ARM. And we do some in-depth analysis of both Intel and AMD, as well as NVIDIA in there. So that's something to look out for. And then next, I would say our devices benchmark definitely goes pretty deep into analyzing the PC market. And in there, we'll be tracking kind of these developments, especially around refresh rate, whether that's driven by the AI PC or Windows on ARM. We'll be watching that kind of thing in the devices benchmark. And then a third report to look out for would be the devices market forecast, which is going to be something that's new for 2024 at TBR. And it's something where we're really going to try to put together those pieces around maybe the AI PC, Windows on ARM, and what our analysts believe are going to be the drivers of refresh, kind of put that into a report where we're kind of seeing how is that going to affect the total size of the market and then revenues going forward over the next 5 years.